people? It's your boy P Ross back in the building with the homie.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Micah, aka CMS, in the flesh,
And together
and
we are.
together we are. Bam!
Yeah, yeah,
Shout out to the homie L Boogie,
yeah,
Lenny B,
yeah,
and shout out to the lovely Miss Laura, aka LC, the good luck charm of
yeah.
the Purple
For sure,
Underground.
for sure.
You
Once
know,
again,
gotta
it's
show
something.
love to those, to our
Yeah,
peeps,
yeah.
as well as all the viewers out there too. Shout out to all you guys and
So
everything.
we want to talk about what are the requirements for being a Prince fan, fam, however you want to put it. Um, because it's been a lot of talk around the Prince community about certain Prince fans ain't fans if they do this, or certain Prince fans ain't fans if they do that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, I just wanted to kind of touch on this issue a little bit, just a little bit, not a whole lot, just a little bit. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because my definition of a fan, I think, it is kind of evolved to the point to where, because for me, being a Prince fan meant that whenever he dropped the album, you was at the record store to buy it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You know, you went to concerts. You interacted with other Prince fans. And along the way, it has evolved into like for collectors like us. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
that's what our bar is. You know what I mean? Like like the shit we go through, just like us in our little circle. You know what I mean? Like you say it started with me where I had rubbed something in your face about an album that I had that you didn't have. That's what you say. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's all about though. You see what I'm saying? Like, a little bit of competition, you know what I'm saying, amongst fans. Like friendly competition, you know
Friendly
what I mean?
competition, yeah.
Friendly competition, you know what I mean? Um,
Mm,
that I don't feel that there are Prince fans out there that has the level of commitment that we have, or like some of the people we know have. But does that make them less of a fan because they don't go out and they don't buy the music? They would rather download it off a torrent site, news site, or whatever, or have somebody make them a copy. You know what I mean?
mm,
Prime example is, let's talk about streaming. Now, right about now, you can practically get every Prince album streaming on Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, whatever you want. So something
mm,
like Crystal Ball, if you never had a chance to get a copy of Crystal Ball, you can listen to it on one of the streaming services. Or again, you can buy it off of eBay, Amazon at ridiculously high prices. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Again, for me, I think the age has evolved beyond going to the record store, buying a record. Um, if someone, for me personally, if someone is streaming every Prince album, for me that's fine. Like I don't
Mm,
necessarily have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Because that's the age that we're in right now. You know what I mean? I do
mm,
my fair share of streaming myself. But when it comes to Prince and there's a physical release, I have to have it. Period. Point blank. You know what I
mm,
mean? And then there are things like some of the NPG Music Club stuff that came out in 2004 that wasn't available, like C Note, the Chocolate
chocolate
Invasion, the
invasion, the
Slaughterhouse,
slaughterhouse.
that weren't available on a physical copy. And if memory serves me right, he was supposed to release those as physical copies, but something went wrong with the test presses or whatever. But I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? I have a problem with is when other Prince fans, not necessarily telling me, but telling others that they're not Prince fans because they go to Paisley for celebration. You know what I mean? Or you're not a fan because you went to the NPG show. Or why are you going to see the Revolution? Or why did you go to the belly dance class? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's my problem with the whole shit, because it's like, okay, you're being judgmental towards me, but I bet won't nail one of y'all put y'all collection up against mine. Because if you did, you lose, and I want your collection. Understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like if someone is streaming, I mean, ultimately they're paying for that streaming service, so they getting it right. You know what I mean? And then, like, especially if they streaming it on Tidal, which was Prince's preferred streaming platform. You know what I mean? So it's like no matter where you're streaming it from, you're paying for it. I mean, I'm talking about those that don't buy. You know what I mean? But can criticize others for being fans, and knowing he's gone, you know what I mean? Trying to actually cope with his death and all that, and doing it the best way you can through, like, maybe associated acts that he worked with, you know what I mean? People he knew and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand that criticism. You know, so I'm done.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a lot. You had a lot on your mind on that one. Well, I mean, for me, you know, you have different facets of different Prince fans. I mean, you have, you got your casual Prince fans who just maybe they like Prince's music, but they're not heavily into him, like, let's say, like the bootleg stuff, a lot of the unreleased stuff, or a lot of the later albums in the late 90s and the 2000s. Then you got your hardcore fans who's like us, and then you got the hardcore fans or the extreme fans, or you got the extreme fans who say they bleed purple and they stay on social media all day and post pictures of Prince, but they don't go out and they didn't go out and buy his last 4 or 5 albums or something.
Right.
You know, so it's definitely a community that is divided at times, and the only thing that we really all have in common is that we love this guy from Minneapolis. That's the one thing we have in common.
Right.
I mean, I'm definitely with you on certain things, but I'm also like, like for me, it's like, to each his own. And,
yeah, for sure.
So, if you love Prince, cool. If you're somebody who is now one to jump on the, I don't want to say jump on the bandwagon, but I know some people have kind of criticized certain people who jumped on the bandwagon after he passed. And I get where they're coming from, but for me, if it's a new fan wanting to get into Prince, I personally just embrace it. Okay, right. Cool. You want to be, a part of this, quote unquote parade or
right.
This community. Okay, cool. If they say, well, give me some albums to to listen to. Or
Right.
I'm gonna, let them know, or
Right.
I'll say, look, I'll start you off. Let's start you off with like a greatest hits or something.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not one of those fans who just dismisses them, just like, where was you around when, when this or whatever like that.
Right. For
I
sure.
mean, I get it for those who feel like that, but it's like, hey man, listen, if somebody wants to all of a sudden embrace Prince's music or to fall in love with it, it's
Right.
like, like why not, embrace that?
Right.
So,
So let me ask you this.
other than that,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
uh-huh. No, I mean, only time I've really had an issue with certain fans is when I felt like, I felt like there were a couple people who kind of subliminally or try to throw some little friendly shade or
Right. Right.
light shade to try to question, my Prince fandom because of, there's certain other artists that I also am big fans of, such as someone like Michael Jackson, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
Right.
if they knew the history like you did,
Right. For sure.
who were the first two I grew up on, they will
Mm-hmm.
understand that.
Right. For sure.
But I feel like, for those type of people to try to, well, you ain't no real Prince fan or you can't be a fan of this person. It's like, look, I mean, if you want to play the whole, well, let's go down the list and what qualifies me or in your eyes, it's like we can do that.
Right. For
But
sure.
at the same time, I really don't have nothing to prove because I
Right.
feel like in my heart I'm certified.
Oh yeah, you
You
certified.
know, so I
So
mean,
so let
that's
me
just what
ask
it
you
is.
this. Let me ask you
Mm-hmm.
this. Does one does a person have to do you think a person has to own every Prince album if they're saying Prince is number one.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying he's the greatest.
Right.
Does that one set person have to own every album? Because to me, if that's the case, I would say yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing more than we live for because we knew we was getting the album every freaking year, damn near. You
Right.
know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether you liked it or you thought it was amazing, you know what I'm saying? Uh, Again, and then I'll say this too: like people can do what they want to with their money. If they
True
didn't
that.
like a certain album or a single and they heard the single, I ain't buying it. That's fine.
Right.
But being a fan of this guy, do they have to own every album? You think?
Just from my perspective, I would think you would. If you're the type of person who goes and says Prince is the greatest, and you steady preaching that all day, every day, you bleed purple, one would think like, okay, if you're that into this guy, you have at least listened to every album more than once, or
Right,
you own every album.
right,
And I'm with you on that too about people can do whatever you want with
right,
your money. I mean, it's your money,
right,
but the way that I've always been programmed since I fell in love with this guy's music, just to buy every album that was available. You know what I'm
right,
saying? If I could afford it, or if it was, there, if I had access to it, I'm gonna get it.
right,
So that's just the way that I am.
right,
When a new Prince album comes out, what's the release date? Oh,
right,
okay, I'll be there.
right,
To go
right,
to the record store to get it or order it.
right, for
So,
sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with
hmm
you. But streaming changes all that now, though.
yeah,
It changes the whole game. You know what I'm
right,
saying? I don't have a problem with streaming. You know what I
right,
mean? But I do have a problem with some of these Prince fans that judge other Prince fans and they don't even own something like I don't know
something
the
like
Rainbow Children.
oh, okay. I
You
was
know
gonna
what I mean?
say I was gonna say we can start with this one.
Well, the first album, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. So I was just wondering about that. That's all. You know.
Yeah, and let me just say this too. You don't have to be like a hardcore collector, to be, a real true fan or fam
Nah,
or
you don't. You
supporter.
don't. You don't. You don't have to
Um,
collect
it
bootlegs either.
right.
You
It's
know what I mean?
just that too. To each his own. But if you're the type of fam, Prince is everything. One would think that okay, you should be into all facets or of his world. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Everything. I
Right.
mean, or that's why now it's like I have such a different outlook on certain things. Even when we get the opportunity, blessed with the opportunities to meet a lot of people he's worked with. From whoever. I mean, people who worked at Paisley Park, whether it's the security guards or
Right.
band members, whomever, man. It's like I've always intrigued hearing the stories and
Right.
things like that, and also hearing stories of how much of a humanitarian he was
Right.
too.
Right. For sure.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just how I you know feel about certain things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man.
And I will say this though. For all the people who bleed purple, who say Prince is everything, even if you are a fanatic, overly fanatic, you must, you must go to Paisley Park if you can afford it. If you can
Right.
afford to go to Paisley Park,
For sure.
you got to go.
Yeah.
You have to go at least once.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure, man.
now put that on your bucket list.
I mean, I just think some of the shit that I be seeing and hearing, I just think be senseless. You know what
Yeah,
I
that
mean?
too.
And I don't know how other fan bases run because
Right.
the Prince fan base is like the main fan base that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Or really, really care about. You know what I
Right.
mean? Per se.
Mhm.
But some of the things that go on in this fan base don't go on in other fan bases.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like for instance, like let's say the supporting of this here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I've heard people around saying that they know it was bootleg, but they didn't buy it because they believe that Prince didn't believe in bootlegging of his
Putting that out.
material. But
Yeah.
in the same term, Prince said himself he owned bootlegs, but he's not selling them. But again, they didn't get this because it was bootleg, but now it's officially released, and they still won't get it. And
Right.
it's like okay, when I saw that on a Facebook post, I'm thinking to myself like, ain't that kind of hypocritical?
Mhm.
Because you openly said that you never heard it because you didn't support bootlegs, but it's been released in pretty decent quality. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Officially, and you still won't support it. See, because I'm one to always believe that regardless of what Prince dropped, some let's say like Emancipation, right? You hear me talk about all the
Mhm.
time how I feel about that album,
Right.
but it's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to get it regardless. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to support the artists that I like in order to get more music from them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And when I heard the argument about the piano microphone 1983, that argument, I'm like, it's stupid.
Mhm.
It's just stupid. Why don't you just say you're just not going to buy it because you're not interested? Like, like it's like people make excuses for why they're doing the things they do concerning Prince himself. And some of these
Mm.
people are the same ones who didn't buy Artificial Age or Hit and Run Phase 1 and 2. You know what I
Plectrum
mean?
Electrum.
Plectrum
Yeah.
Electrum. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Some of these people are the same people. So it's like, where do you draw the line and what really makes a Prince fan? I don't think that's a question that I could answer. I think the people internally who feel like that need to be asking themselves that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and you know what? It's cool, I think, for people to like question the estate. You know what I mean? And when the estate do something they feel is stupid, for them to question that, because ultimately the estate will get all these reports, and from those reports they'll try to make things better. You know what I mean? So I get that, but it's when people they get into their fantasy role. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
they just go way off on these conspiracy theories, and when it should actually be kept at the music. You know what I'm saying? Do you or don't you
Mm.
want the music? You know what I mean? So that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, at this point, that's really, well, I ain't gonna say that's the only thing that matters to me, but that's what the main thing at this moment is, the music. As long as it's preserved, um, and just, I mean, for me, I just don't want his legacy just to be forgotten. I don't want it to be a point where, well, out of sight, out of mind. You know
Right,
what I
for sure.
mean?
Yeah.
Now that he's gone,
Right.
he's not here to go on tour, and
Right.
you know,
Because what
it's
ultimately
just what it
happen
is.
is if we don't support the legacy and they're not making anything, they're gonna stop releasing stuff. And then when that happens, then they'll be blaming the estate for that. But it's us, the fans, that keep these artists going, even after they death. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why now with certain things like for example the For You Prince uh, symphony that's been going around.
right,
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go. Um, you know, I had to work, but uh, other people have gone to go see it. They said it was great.
right,
I know our boy L Boogie
yes,
said he enjoys it. Um, and it's just other things like the one the official Prince online website that's selling merchandise. I mean,
right,
I mean, I think that's dope too. I remember it was a point where I remember certain people was saying, "Well, how come Prince don't have no merchandise, or how come I can't find Prince
right,
merchandise?" I remember
right,
people was asking me that.
right,
So now that these type of things are available,
right.
it's like you need to try to jump on it. And again, if you can't afford it, I completely
Oh yeah,
understand.
for sure, for sure.
Completely understand.
Definitely pay your rent before you buy a Prince album. I mean, damn,
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I mean, if
That's
that
common
if
sense.
that Prince
Yeah.
album costs $39.99, and you got that for your rent, don't spend your rent.
Right.
pay your
Exactly.
bills. You know.
Exactly.
But then that's just like the argument. Remember when everybody was saying, "Well, why ain't no Prince videos on YouTube?" You know what I'm saying? And
That
then
too.
then the argument was like, "Well, how's the younger crowd supposed to get into him if they're on YouTube?"
Right.
But now all this Prince stuff is on YouTube. They even have his albums on YouTube for you to stream and listen to.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
See.
And what's so crazy is I don't even think his YouTube channel has broke 1 million subscribers.
Mm.
You got
But
every
but
video, and it's crazy because you got every video, damn near every album, You know what I mean? And it still hasn't broke 1 million subscribers.
Right.
I mean, I think that's ridiculous.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
for such a fan base that is as passionate as we are. You know, I think
Right.
it's ridiculous. I mean, they making it easy for people. They're making it easy
Yeah.
for people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They get paid from the views on YouTube. They get paid for the stream on Tidal, Apple Music, or whatever. You could download the album. I mean, they done made it so you don't even have to leave your home to buy a damn record now.
Right. You can just
You can
go
just
on,
sit at home on your
go on
phone
YouTube and just listen to it.
and just listen
Yeah.
to it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know. And you know
And
what?
then it's gonna be certain fans who's gonna say, well, Prince probably wouldn't have did it this way and that way. Maybe not, but he's not here to
He's
make
not here.
those type of decisions.
He's not
And
here.
and because he didn't leave no will and didn't leave anything to anybody to get this or run this, it's kind of up for grabs to where, people are, they basically signed up for something that they wasn't even prepared for.
Right.
So they got to, they had to go and take other options to what
Right.
they feel like is going to be best and what's going to generate
Right.
some income to keep this machine going.
Right, for sure.
I mean, that's just, I'm looking at it from a logical standpoint,
Right.
you know.
You got
So,
to. You got to. So.
So and for me, like, with people putting out books, hey, put out the books.
Support 'em.
Shit, I'll buy them,
Right.
because it's keeping his name on the street,
Yes, sir. Definitely. So.
Like I said, as long as he's not out of sight, out of mind, I mean, it won't be no problem. But if that happens, it's gonna be a problem, like you just said, before.
Right.
It'll be a problem.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, the Prince community can be a very fickle group of people.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
just depends on what group of people, who you interact with.
Right.
But the one thing they got in common is we all love Prince.
Right, for sure.
So
Let's just keep it all love, respect everybody's opinion. You know.
yes,
what I mean?
respect. Respect.
Respect everybody's shit.
Yeah.
Like you want your shit respected, and we can keep it
Yeah.
pushing. You know what I'm saying? So if you ain't got nothing else, we can end this video.
Hey man, that's
Call it a wrap.
all I got, man. Just support his legacy, support people's Prince podcasts, like the podcast Juice, the Peach and Black,
For
the
sure.
YouTube channels, Prince's Friend,
Yes.
Night Child.
Yes.
I mean, just anybody, man. All the
Right.
Facebook group pages,
Yeah. Support.
Paisley 5 and Dime. Everybody, man.
Yes, sir.
So,
All right. We're about to call this wraps. So, we are the Purple Underground.
and we are the new breed.
And we out. Peace.
Peace. Love for one another.